Hello, hello, hello. This is Melissa May Dillon, your insurance exam queen, and I am super stoked to be sharing with you Jamie Reeves today from Elevated Success. So I honestly, Jamie has been reaching out for a while, and I somehow missed it. And once I saw her email and what she had and what she was going on, I was like, oh my gosh, we need to get her in front of people right now, and we need to share what she has going on because so many of you have reached out to me and they say, what's next? I got my license. I got my test done. I got my license. I'm ready to go. What should I go sell? What's going to allow me to make good money? What's going to be a great, amazing career for me? And I'm like, I don't know. go, find, go find somebody who's doing it successfully and reach out to them and talk with them. And Jamie is actually one of those people that I'm super excited to introduce you to because she can show you an incredible opportunity for one of the things I actually know the least amount about, which is commercial insurance. Now, keep in mind when you get your licenses, you get your property and casualty license, you are allowed to sell commercial, and commercial is selling to businesses. So instead of just homeowners and, regular people who own a car, the people who own businesses, they need to insure their businesses. And this is one of the, it might feel overwhelming or tricky, but Jamie's going to make it so easy for you. But it might be overwhelming or tricky because there's all these different components that you can add into a business policy to make sure that that person is protected. And if you can fully understand all the different components and what a business owner needs to consider and what they need to think about and what risks they may have, you can build out incredible policies that provide so much protection and also come at a really great premium, which translates to commission for you. But I'll kind of let Jamie kind of share that. So, Jamie, welcome so much. If you just want to introduce yourself and how you kind of got into the commercial space, that would be awesome.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. I've been following you for a long time and was super stoked to have this opportunity. But yeah, my name is Jamie Reeves. I'm the owner and founder of Elevated Success. Actually started insurance working for State Farm as a salesperson way, way long time ago and ended up going into claims. And I worked my way up to handling litigated cases, commercial insurance cases. So pre-litigated and litigated. And really, that's where I learned policy language and
Can
contracts.
I just want to interrupt you real quick because this is a learning channel. Can you share a little bit about what litigated means?
So litigated means when there is a claim, say a car accident or slip and fall, someone would hire an attorney and they would when they have an injury, and that attorney would then help them file a lawsuit against the responsible party.
So
And
if
then
I walk into McDonald's and I get hurt and I want to sue them, I go to a lawyer and we begin litigation.
yes, you file a lawsuit and yeah, litigation happens. And then it would at that point it was up to me to resolve that case. And I worked with some of the largest defense firms in the state of Florida to try to do that. But that's really where my knowledge comes from. I'm a University of Florida graduate. I was actually anticipating going to law school. And then COVID hit. And I thought, now what? And some of my friends that own insurance agents and they specialize in personal lines, home and auto, they're like, you know so much about commercial. Why don't you open an agency and do that? So I did, and I flipped the script, which most agents go immediately into selling home and auto. I went into commercial, and there is so much more money to be gained. I actually grew the business within 5 years and made a ton of money. I'm actually in the process of selling it. And so I felt that there were so many agents that know commercial insurance, and it's so niche, it's so specific, there's so much to know, and nobody was sharing the knowledge. And I feel like as agents, we need to share the knowledge. There's enough policies, there's enough stuff to go around. So that was really my goal is helping other agents and really helping the industry itself. People learn initially get the licensing class and they learn what they need to know the basics to get the license, but that doesn't really teach you the day-to-day everything that happens in an office, and really teach you how to protect those clients. It's a great base, but if you're going to specialize in it, there's a lot of money to be made and it's a great thing to get into other than just going right to home and auto. So that's kind of what I
Yes.
did. I formulated this class over the time. I learned there were a lot of mistakes people were making. So that's kind of where I'm like, maybe there needs to be a class. I didn't realize how much knowledge I had that you don't know what other people don't know until you kind of see it. And I'm like, maybe this would be good to help them and also help business owners because these business owners fuel our economy. I want to make sure they're protected correctly. And by doing that is really educating the agents. That's where it starts so that they're protecting those businesses correctly.
Yeah. So you did a little bit of insurance a while ago. You got into the litigation where you were helping attorneys and businesses figure out, people are attempting to sue my business. Do we
Yeah.
have enough insurance in place? Do we have inadequate insurance? What's going on? And that led you into selling insurance. So
Yes.
you got to see the side that business owners would never want to happen, where someone
Yeah.
is suing them. And so because you had so much experience in that, you're like, I know exactly how to protect you. And so you were able to talk to them and educate them to let them know that they needed coverage. So tell me sometimes how you would talk to a customer and realize they were missing insurance that they didn't know they needed.
So often the first thing I would do is, meet with them, even if it's just over the phone, get the policies they currently have if they're already insured. That's usually when I found the errors is when I was asking questions and digging around to the operations of the business and seeing how the policy was written and seeing it was not written correctly. Um, and so I never really sold on price. I advised, and I can tell you, I won all of my business based on advising them what they needed to get, and even looking at policies that were written incorrectly. On the new businesses, they're very, they're just trying to get a general liability policy, maybe a work comp policy. Those are great to start with for any agent because you're growing with them. Unlike a personal lines where, me as a homeowner, me and my husband have two cars and a house. Probably never get more than that other than our teenagers driving. A business owner, they're going to get more employees. They're, going to own a building, maybe multiple buildings, add on employees. So every year their policy premium goes up. I had one guy who started out, it was $1,000 he was paying in premium was very first year. And by year two, he had hired employees. He had purchased vehicles. He needed so much more. So those policies can grow maybe $1,000 in premium. The very next year could be a $10,000 premium. And the business owners don't squawk at that. Where home and auto, they're like, oh, my premium went up $25 this year. Can you requote it? A lot of work for very little commission, right? The business owners are like, hey, I know my revenue. I have a painter whose revenue went from $600,000 the first year to 1.2 million the next year. So when his insurance policy doubles, he doesn't squawk. He's got the money. And so for me, it was easy money. I grew it to be so big. And then when this launched, I had no idea how popular and how needed this was. I didn't realize I was going to be as busy as I am with this, and how much interest there is because there are only a few other companies that do what I'm doing. Well, I should say there's only a couple other companies that also teach commercial insurance, but they don't go as deep as I do into it. Really
Yeah, or
teaching.
potentially even have your background where you dealt
Yeah,
with actual claims where people were suing and attempting to get money. And
exactly.
yeah, so this is also something I want to hit on a few points of things you said. One, I do feel like there's a lot of gatekeeping inside the insurance industry. We're not going to tell you exactly what we do or how you can make money until you sign up to work with us. It's like, well, tell me a little bit more about the opportunity first. Tell me what's available. Tell me, what works and what doesn't work. Let me see if this is a fit for me. And I don't feel like that is really, there's not really open doors like that when it comes to insurance industry. So as the insurance exam queen, I absolutely love people who are willing to talk about their experiences, what they've learned, what they've gained, sharing that knowledge with people without requiring that they become a recruited agent for that person. So that's super powerful. The other thing too is teaching. If you teach your customers, because you use the word advising, where you basically are like, you looked at their insurance, you looked at their business, and you're like, okay, this is what your policy currently covers. This is what it doesn't cover. When we look at your business, you have this potential risk and that potential risk. None of these are even covered by your current policy. You really
Exactly.
need to have a policy that has this and this and this, and I can set that up for you if you want. And that is incredibly powerful. Like if you can, and I tell people this all the time, that when a customer feels like you understand them and you care about them and their situation, and you spend more time advising and explaining so that they know what it is that they're looking at in their insurance. Like it's not just about the cheapest premium. It's like,
Yeah.
am I covered for what I need to be covered? Do I have adequate protection? And especially as business owners, we have a lot to protect. It's our whole livelihood, protecting our businesses. So when you sit down with somebody and you can explain to them properly what they're lacking, what they need, what exposures they have in their business, and you can provide them with the coverage for that, they're more than happy to buy the policy, pay the premium, as you clearly know. You have a very
Yeah.
successful business in that. So with all of this success and experience that Jamie has had, she actually is turning it around, giving back to the people who want to become, successful in the insurance field. And she's created this commercial course through her Elevated Success program. That's why she's like, I'm selling my agency. I've had enough fun in the insurance world. I've learned so much. And now I just want to educate. I want to give back. I want to teach people. And she wants to give people the opportunity that she's had to build a wildly successful agency. And then she gets to now pursue her things that she's more passionate about, which is educating and teaching, other insurance agents. And that's another thing I love to talk about, is that insurance is a gateway to so many things.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I got my license and I started selling, but now I'm teaching people how to pass a test. Like you can start in insurance and get your footing and get some experience, and then you can find something that really lights you up in your unique way, and you can find a need, fill a need. Jamie found the need that people do not have enough education about commercial insurance, and it's such an amazing opportunity to make money. Why don't I teach people about that, serve the insurance agents, and one, help them and help me at the same time. And I think that's incredibly powerful. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about your insurance commercial course?
Yeah, so basically, I go over 13 policies. We talk about exclusions, common exclusions on policies, common endorsements, ways you can add the coverage back in. So, a lot of times when I'm looking at a policy and talking with an insured and looking at their prior policy, it's important to know what coverage you have, but what's more important is what's excluded in those. And that's where I'm like, okay, this is excluded. Is this important to you? If not, we can add it on with this endorsement or add it on with this other policy. So I kind of go over that. I go over sales, claims examples, common errors agents make. There's a lot of agents I deal with and have called me like, oh my gosh, I made this mistake. Now what? So I'm going over those like, this is what you want to make sure you don't do to make sure it's written correctly. So it is a 20-hour course. And I've got a lot of great feedback, and I'm always open to more feedback. Like, I want people, if you are taking the class, to email me if you have a question along the way. Because I want you to get as much out of it as you can. And I know for fact one client can make you your money back on the class, because I've seen it myself. Sometimes 10 times more than what it costs.
So for the
So
for people who are like totally new, just got their license, is this gonna work for them?
this is designed for someone who is new. This is
Yes.
designed really for someone who knows absolutely nothing. We'd go from the very basic all the way up. And it's perfect for someone who's really new and says, I really want to learn commercial insurance. Maybe they know the home and auto, maybe they don't. And they're like, I want to jump right. I got my PNC license. I want to jump right into just specializing in commercial insurance. Help you find the carriers. I help you sell the underwriter to get those quotes closed. There's a lot in the sales course, going after a specific niche, what networking you need to do. I built my entire business on nothing but referrals. I never made a cold call. It blew up just on referrals. And what I have found also is a lot of the personal lines agents like, I don't want to touch commercial. So I did a handshake deal, like you do the home and auto and I'll do the commercial. And so I partnered with a lot of agents in Florida, and that's what we did. And that was a kind of our agreement, and
Wow.
it
You
worked
sound
really
a
well.
little that sounds a little bit like me. I don't want to touch commercial. It is not if anybody has watched my videos, they know that commercial is one of my least favorite things. But I have a feeling though, because I'm definitely going to be taking your course because I want to be more educated on commercial. I want to take your course and learn more about commercial so I can also help teach people a little bit better
Yeah.
as I'm teaching it. But that is such a good point where Like you can not just work with, but like use that. You don't want to touch home and auto. It is an interesting thing to think about how the average customer of a home and auto, yes, everybody needs homeowners insurance, everybody needs auto. And it's actually one of the things I've seen people complain about a lot in insurance groups where, you know, um, like the policy is maybe $1,000 a year and you're making, maybe 5% of that. And you
Yeah.
have to answer every phone call that they have, every email that they have. And so you're constantly providing service to people, and it just doesn't feel like the amount of money you're receiving in place of that makes sense. But when you
Yeah.
have commercial and you're dealing with, $10,000 in a premium, $20,000 in a premium, making a percentage of that is a lot is a lot better.
It's huge. And like a lot of the work comp pays 20%. So,
Wow.
um, I looked at the home and auto and I'm like, these people are paying for Florida, $3,000 a year is usually what you pay for a home and two autos. Well, you're making maybe $360 on that sale. Whereas just one general liability policy at maybe 10 grand, you're going to make $1,500 on. So, I mean, it's a big difference. And then you add on the work comp and everything. I've got a pool company who their total premium is $66,000 between their general liability, work comp, auto, and commercial property. I make $9,000 on that one deal. My HVAC company, they've got 232,000 in premium, and I make $31,000 a year on that. There's very little to do. On work comp, you don't even touch it. I mean, it just is pay as you go. As they increase payroll, that work comp policy goes up. You're just getting a commission check. For the commercial auto, yeah, there's some. Usually they're like, I bought a new car or I hired a new person. That may happen once or twice a year. My opinion is if you do grow this agency and start it from scratch as your own agency, once you hit 2 million, you really need someone to service that policy. But you're making $250,000, a year, you can absolutely afford to hire someone at that point,
Wow.
so
I just
it's a
want to
great
take a
business to
minute
get
because
into.
I just got this like feeling of like there is going to be a time in the future where there are people who started with this video, took your course, built, incredible agencies where they're making, so much money, hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars creating these agencies, servicing people with commercial. And it'd be like it all started back in this video. I got my little license, I took passed my test, and
Yeah,
then Jamie taught me commercial, and then boom, I
yeah.
completely changed the financial future for myself, for my family. I've built, generational wealth, which is one thing I really
Oh yeah.
love that you could do within insurance. So I just want to take a moment and send out those vibes into the
Oh
future because
yeah.
I think that's so freaking
I mean,
awesome.
anyone can get an insurance license. You don't have to have a bachelor's degree or associate's degree. And it really is a professional industry. I think it's a great industry to get into, and there is a ton of money to make. The other thing with commercial is so many people don't want to do it. There's very little competition. Usually people are like, "Ah, I don't want to touch it." So when you do learn it and you can do it well, it is a slower process. I feel like the personal lines is more transactional. But again, the people are going to be like, oh, my policy went up. They're more likely to move. My clients were very, very sticky because they're business owners. They're not going to call to, their revenue's going up every year. Their employee count's going up every year. They're not going to really worry about it going up a little bit every year. And it is going to go up every year. My pool company started at a $3,000 policy when they first started. Now they're at 66,000 for their premium. So that's a big jump. Every year it was jumping up. And every time I add a car, I'm like, there's $1,000. I just made $1,000 by adding a car and a driver. It's
Wow.
very easy money to make. But it is more relationships. It's more about relationships, less transactional. But I do believe that is why it sticks. And when you go to sell the agency, that is why my agency was so valuable because people are like, they don't have it. They don't have the commercial lines. Everybody's got the home and auto, and they know that those people are more sticky, that they're going to stick around. So the percentage I got for my book is way higher than somebody that just had personal lines.
Yeah. Wow.
So
And
when you
again,
go to
like there
sell.
are so many people who don't want to do personal lines. So you
Yeah,
literally become their friend and you say, look, you do home and auto. When I have people who
yeah,
need home and auto, I'll send them to you. And when you
exactly.
have people who need commercial, you send them to me. And you
Yeah.
can do that with how many different network partnerships do you have like that?
I had I had well over 100, but I also had lenders, I had property managers. So those property managers are great referral partners. Lenders are great referral partners because that's kind of how you get in. If somebody has a property they're buying from a bank, they already have the auto, they already have the work comp, they already have all that other stuff you're going to want. And they're usually you get them one deal, you get them in on that commercial property, they're going to move everything to you because they're always like, I just want one agent. I really don't want to have everything everywhere else. I've even had people do an agency record transfer, which is basically I have the carrier, I can't find anything lower, but they want to move it to me. They sign something to the carrier saying we want her to service it. Now I'm getting the commission on something I didn't even write.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
it just, I want to, carrier just means insurance company, like
insurance
the
company.
insurance
Yeah.
company who's going to carry the policy. That's
Yeah.
not
Carry
really a
the,
word that pops up in your exam per se. So I
okay.
like to grab words that insurance agents use all the time, but maybe for the newbie, they don't know what the heck that means.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, one thing I want to ask is this how fast am I going to go from making no money to making money with using your course and your information?
I believe it's not like homeowners. It is more of a slower process. So most people, I'm quoting 30 to 60 days before their renewal. So it could be 2 months before you actually see something. But like I said, even with one sale, I can almost guarantee you would be making something within 60 days, be more than doubling or tripling the amount of the class very, very quickly, especially if you're specializing it. My like again, I'm not only teaching you the basics of the knowledge, but sales. Where do I go next? Where do I go to get this business? I talk about referral partners. I talk about the insurance companies, the direct appointments that you may have with certain insurance companies, kind of going after that particular market that they're successful in. So I give you a lot of advice on how to sell it. I'm also doing consulting as well. So I have a few companies that have asked me to help them, and I think you wouldn't need consulting for very long, maybe 2 or 3 months, and you're rolling. The few people that I had take the class that were very, very new, they're like, hey, can I meet with you once a week for an hour? And they would bring me the deals, and I'm like, okay, this is how you're going to want to explain it, and this is what you're going to want to say. And they have been so successful. You're not going to win every deal that you quote. I had about one out of every I won probably three out of every four. So I had a pretty high success rate. I believe that people can get to that point as well. But I would say two out of every four, you're probably going to win, especially after taking this course when you become that advisor more than just quoting on price. And I do believe that you have to get to the point of really advising those business owners, and they want to listen. They are not looking for price. They're looking for protection. And one question I always ask these business owners, like, what keeps you up at night? Because you will find every business, something different bothers them. I had retail businesses that had a lot of people turning over as far as hiring. So they're like, I'm worried that we're going to get sued for, discrimination. Like, what do I do for that? Well, you would want an employment practices liability policy, simple add-on that you can add on to a general liability policy. Some of my construction workers are like, I'm really worried about my people getting hurt. So you want to make sure they have adequate workman comp liability or work comp coverage. So it just depends on what those people are. You can really feel for what's important to them. And when you find that key of what's really important to them and you find a way to protect it, it's really a way to win them over. And it works really, really well.
Yeah. So who is this, like, thinking of what it took for you to be the person who did what you did and built the agency that you built? That's not for everybody. There's certain people that should stay away from this course and not get it, but there are certain people that this was designed for. So who would you say, what kind of qualities and characteristics of myself as a person should I have if this is something I would like to do to build a commercial agency?
I believe it's really for someone who's really likes building relationships and taking the time to talk and work through things. I feel like the more time you spend with that customer, the stickier they are. But I also think I'm never afraid to say, hey, what do you want? Like, if I get you this premium or whatever protection you want, will you move to me? I really talk about qualifying that person too, so you're not wasting your time. And that's why I had a high success rate. I've even had people saying, I've told them, I had one guy who I had two companies, and I said, if I win, if I'm able to get you the rate that you want on this, will you move on the other policies over to me? And they're like, absolutely. If you can do this for me, I'll move everything to you. So you're really just pushing them. But I think it's really the person this is made for. It's not made for someone who's just wants to run quotes, spit stuff out, and just be more of a turn and burn. It's really a little bit slower process. It's building those relationships. Um, that's really what commercial insurance is if you want to be an advisor and you want to be more of an advisor than just a salesperson, which I never really felt like I was really a salesperson. And my husband's like, you are, because you're selling stuff. But I didn't feel like I was. I just don't feel like I'm not the type of person to do the cold calling. I built this all on networking. Let those people send stuff to me instead of me picking up the phone and trying to win the business. And I also think when you build that referral partnerships, that's what stays. When someone's referred to you, they're probably 99% more likely to sign up with you.
Hmm.
All my referrals, for the most part, they're gonna sign up because they've been referred and you've been referred by whoever they trust. So
Yeah.
there's more trust there as well once you are referred.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yes. Okay, perfect. Well, so again, this can be totally for a new person, but who's willing to take some time. Like Melissa D. Hall, she does Medicare, and she always says insurance is not necessarily a get rich quick, but it's a get rich for sure if you
Exactly.
do the work, right?
Yes.
And so I think commercial insurance is like I've known that it's an amazing opportunity because you're dealing with much bigger premiums. And like if we were to compare, for instance, like life insurance, you may sell a big premium up front, but you make that commission like one time and you don't really make a lot of renewals. And when you said your clients are sticky, it doesn't mean sticky like bad sticky. It's sticky like they stick around.
They
And
stick
if a
around and
client
they refer.
Yes, if they stick around, it means I bought a $10,000 premium with you and I'm going to renew it every single year. And every year that premium could go up if my business grows. And you are the one advising me and protecting me on what I need in that business. And so you want your clients to be sticky and to stick around. And it is relationship building. And so that's really amazing that you have all of those components that you can teach this new person. So Jamie has an incredible course on teaching you all of these things that we've talked about, even as a brand new agent, how to get the carriers, how to talk to people, all the things you need to be able to have an amazing commercial agency like she has built herself so successfully that she can sell it, that someone else wants to pay her a lot of money to get it. So, and that is absolutely something you could do too, right? So you can start something, build something, and then decide, what, I really want to head off into this, or I want to start teaching people this, just like Jamie is doing. So we have a link below. She has given the Insurance Exam Queen a special price. And so it is available in the link. So you want to click that below. This course, based on what I mean, I haven't taken it yet, but I plan on it. This course, based on what I have heard from her, what I have seen it, is certainly worth thousands of dollars, especially in comparison to what you can make on the back end. When you consider a 4-year degree, you spend so much money to get that 4-year degree, and then you can turn over and get a job at like maybe 60,000 a year. You can spend just a little bit of money on this course and then learn the commercial insurance, start building those relationships, doing the advising, and then start having, big premiums roll in, and then you get to keep those customers. You can make so much potential money from this opportunity with just a small, tiny investment into her course. I've already told her she should double it, triple it. So jump on it now. There also may be some opportunities where Jamie is going to be working directly with our audience if you want to have a class with her. So that'll also be in one of the links below. I don't want to share specific dates because this video is going to be up forever potentially. So just check out the links below to see when you can meet with Jamie within our class system. And then you can also just directly get her course right now. It is like a fully blown online course where they could do it at their own time. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, so you do it at your own pace. It is a combination of reading and videos to keep it really interesting. And there's even some workbook stuff so they can work on the sales portion as well. But I can guarantee you, if you take this course, you can absolutely bring in $1 million in premium a year. If you work hard, take the course, learn, and do what I've done, it is not impossible to make $1 million in premium a year.
Wow, $1 million a premium in a year. That's the title of this video. I was
Yeah.
looking for a title as we were talking. So Perfect. Is there a limit? Like when they buy my course, they get 100 days currently. That could change, but is there a limit on your course?
There's 6 months. And the reason I gave it 6 months is because there may be times where you need to go back and be like, wait a minute, I really want to make sure I understood that right. And take your time with it. And when it is a new subject, you do really need to take your time. If for some reason someone's like, I need this longer, I just reach out to me. I have no problem extending it. I just needed to put some type of time limit on it.
Perfect. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jamie. Okay, so again, click all the linky links below for information on Jamie's course and if there's ever classes available that she is teaching. And I'm so amazed. I'm so excited now to really, I actually want to jump into I'm like, why haven't I already gotten into it? Because I do need to learn a little bit more commercial. I need to be a little bit stronger in that as I teach people. But 70 is all you need to pass, and you can pass with very mediocre knowledge in commercial insurance, but that's where the money's at. So let's
Yeah.
go. Let's go learn it with Jamie. That's amazing. So I'm sending you guys all the loves, all the vibes to pass the exam. You guys have an amazing day.